Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the all-new 2022 Ram 1500 GT package. So I did make a video about this truck a few weeks ago, but that was before we had a bunch of confirmed information from Ram. So now we have all of the confirmed information on this package, and yeah, with all that being said, let's just get right into it. Now let's get into the confirmed information, and we were actually correct on quite a few things. So first off, this is not going to be a standalone package. It's going to be an option you can get on the Laramie and the Rebel, and that's it. We sadly will not be able to get a limited GT. I thought that'd be really cool, but I guess they're not going to do that. I'm sure that after they see how well this package sells, then they'll probably add it on to something like the limited, because that would be really cool. Now, aside from that, the GT package adds the performance pages, and it adds a performance exhaust and performance air intake, so the truck will be louder than a regular Ram 1500. And speaking of that, it only comes with the 5.7 Hemi with e-torque. It doesn't come with a regular 5.7 Hemi, so yeah, if you're against the e-torque, sorry. But I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? The e-torque adds a little bit of torque off the line, so it'll make the truck feel a little bit sportier from an acceleration standpoint. And I mean, the GT is all about, right, sportiness. Now, aside from that, Ram hasn't released official power figures, but imagine that with that performance air intake and then with the exhaust, it'll have like maybe 5 horsepower and, you know, maybe like 5 or 10 pound-feet of torque more than what it already has, which is 395 horsepower and then 410 pound-feet of torque. And then that hybrid assist gives you 130 pound-feet right off of the line. Now, aside from that, paddle shifters that they're stealing from the Ram TRX will be on this package. You can shift the gears yourself. But there's no comment on the actual console shifter. We were talking about how the GT package would probably move the dial shifter into the console and actually make like the console shifter like what you have with the TRX. But there's no comment on that, so we might just still have the dial shifter with this GT package. Hopefully they end up giving us the shifter from the TRX. But speaking of console, this will only come with the center console because it'll come with the front bucket seats as part of this package, and so that's kind of also why we were thinking that they would maybe do the TRX shifter with it. And then on top of that, the GTs will come with the Sport Hood, which makes sense for the Laramie because a regular Laramie doesn't have a Sport Hood, but the Rebel already has the Sport Hood. So unless the Sport Hood looks a little bit different, it's not really going to be a change for the Rebel because, yeah, again, it already has a Sport Hood. But anyways, you also get the GT decals on the side, which, again, with the Rebel package is kind of interesting because you can get Rebel decals. So, like, obviously you probably can't get both of them, and so you'd have to decide, do you want Rebel on the side or do you want GT on the side? So I guess decisions. And then also rubber floor mats as well up front, and yeah, that's pretty much all of the official specs here that we have for the GT. And then if you guys are wondering on pricing, it's going to start at $55,000 roughly for the Rebel, and then $57,000 for the Laramie. And they're only doing this with a crew cab short bed configuration to start things off, which, if you guys are wondering why they're doing that, that is the most common truck that people purchase is crew cab short bed. And so it makes sense that this special package is going to be built off of that particular iteration of the truck. But those are the official specs. Now, is this GT package going to be worth it? And most likely. So again, we don't have any confirmation on the shifter with the center console. Hopefully they add it because I think that would just add an extra layer here with the GT package and definitely make it a great value. Now, shifter aside, a lot of these add-ons that are coming with the GT package are things that you can already purchase and put on your Ram 1500. But there's a big difference. So if I just went out and purchased a regular Laramie and I threw on the performance exhaust from Mopar and the cold air intake that it's getting and then threw the stickers on the side, right, that'd be great and I'd pretty much have a GT. But I wouldn't have the resale value of a GT, because when you have a package like that from the factory, resale value is always going to be better than when you add those aftermarket parts on yourself, right? You might be able to add all those aftermarket parts by yourself for a little bit less money, but you're not going to have as high resale value, so it just depends on what you're looking for, right? If you plan on keeping the truck for a really long time, then price out everything that the GT has from Mopar and see how much that costs versus the actual package itself, which is actually pretty close. So depending on where you live, right? In some regions and everything might be a little bit different than others, but at least for here in Utah, it's actually pretty dang close. And so it kind of makes more sense to just get the GT package. So if you ever sell the truck, then again, you're going to have that higher resale value. Now, aside from that, Obviously, this isn't like a true performance truck. It's just giving you some extra goodies to make it feel a little bit more performance oriented. But if you're going into this thinking you're going to get this crazy high performing truck, then it's not what the GT's about. The GT's kind of like all show and no go, if that makes sense, right? It's not really going to be any faster than a regular 1500. Again, you might have 5 to 10 more horsepower. That's not going to make a big enough difference to where it's going to really accelerate that much faster than a standard 1500. Again, it's just going to sound louder, and it's going to look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, a little bit sportier. And so again, it's the all show and no go package, I guess is what we will call it, which is kind of what Mopar is all about, which is kind of funny. But aside from that, I definitely think it's worth it if you're wanting the cooler aesthetics, if you're wanting the sportier feel, but you don't necessarily care about having a sportier drive, right? And I completely understand that, right? You just want to have a cool looking truck, even if you're not necessarily going to do any sort of performance driving, which I think is a lot of people, and I think that it's smart that Ram is capitalizing on that. And then I'm doing things a little bit backwards, I guess, in today's video in terms of importance with this GT package. I don't see it as like crazy important. I mean, it's cool that we're getting a new package from Ram, and it's cool that this is going to be kind of like a new-ish segment in the truck segment, but not really all that much because, again, it's not a true performance variant. And so I think that we might have some competitors from Chevy and Ford to kind of answer to this, where they offer kind of more performance-oriented versions on their trucks. Again, exhaust, cold air intake, just something to make the truck a little bit louder because, again, a lot of people do that. They just want a truck that's a little bit noisier and looks a little bit cooler. So I guess it might slightly shake things up. We'll see how many of these trucks they actually sell. And I guess the other thing that kind of goes against the GT package, and I've been thinking about this since I made the first video, is the fact that, again, the Rebel already comes with a sport hood. And so getting a Rebel GT is just giving you an exhaust, and it's just giving you paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel, which is cool, but it's like, okay. And also the Rebel already comes with, you can't get a Rebel with a bench seat, so the Rebel already comes with bucket seats from the factory. So the GT package only coming with bucket seats really only affects the Laramie. Now going over the Laramie, you've already been able to get a Laramie Night Edition or a Laramie Sport, which has the sport hood, and also you can get with bucket seats. And so again, yeah, it's cool that the GT is adding the exhaust and the paddle shifters, but it's not like it's that big of a change. And I think that people that aren't really car people are going to look at this GT package and they're going to go, oh, it's just like, again, a Laramie Sport, or it's just like a regular Rebel. They're not really going to be able to see the difference. You're going to have to be like a Ram person to pretty much be able to see the difference. So I guess the package does have that going against it, where you can get packages that obviously don't have the same stuff as the GT, but they look similar enough to a regular person that, you know, it's not really that big of a change, I guess, aesthetically. And yeah, I mean, you'll have the sticker on the side of the truck, but anyone can add a sticker on the side of the truck. But anyways, that's going to sum things up for this GT video. I don't want it to be too long of a video. I just wanted to go over the official specs and kind of how my thoughts have changed on this package. But yeah, if you're stopping for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then if you do feel like my videos are of value to you, I'm going to include a link to my Patreon in the description down below. I'd really appreciate your support over there. I'll see you guys.